Do you skip meals to save some calories? Do you drink coffee instead of eating to cut back? Do you eat small portions to have a deficit? And do you claim, when it comes to actually have the lunch or the dinner, that you are not really that hungry? All these behaviors lead to the biggest enemy of body weight management and your biggest enemy if your goal is to lose weight. And in this video, you will find out what's this monster you have to avoid. What's this enemy that right now is for sure present in your life, and you give it so much fuel. So you entertain its life in your life. I'm Janina Vlad, the founder of leanoncarbs.com. I've lost 50 pounds without small portions, without calorie deficit, without crazy exercise, without drinking coffee, and without skipping meals. I've lost weight by adopting a high-carb, low-fat, whole food, plant-based vegan diet, eating all the time to reach satiety, eating all the time lots of calories. But that doesn't mean I overate. I have tons of videos already on my channel explaining how these foods that are high in carbs are actually high in fiber and high in water. Zero-calorie nutrients that dilute the overall calories in one meal. So you can have big portions to give you satiety for hours with fewer calories than on a standard way of eating standard meals. And my purpose is to help you do the same, achieve my results, which are health and weight loss and body weight management without effort, without hunger, without cravings for the rest of your life. And what's better than a life without cravings? To live this food freedom, to go about your day, to go about your life without thinking all the time and without snacking all the time, thinking about food, about the next meal, about the next cheat meal, cheat day, the next junk food snack. If that sounds good to you, please subscribe to my channel, give it a like, and let's start this video. Do you know what happens when you skip breakfast? Yes, you overeat at lunch and snack on junk, on donuts and ice cream and chocolate by 4-5 p.m. And what about small portions? What happens when you avoid eating enough food at meals? Yes, you have a little snack throughout the day. Or skipping dinner to cut back some calories. Yes, going to bed, going to sleep hungry. Been there, done that. That leads to a heavy breakfast. It's heavy. So let me tell you, that's not with bananas and mangoes. And lastly, claiming not to be hungry at meal times. That leads to frequently munching on high-fat, high-calorie snacks. All these behaviors create this big monster, your biggest enemy if you want to be lean like me. This was my biggest enemy for the majority of my life, for all my 20s, for part of my 30s, for the end of my high school. What's the name of this thing? Let me know in the comments if you know it. If you know what I'm about to share with you right now. I wait a few seconds. I'm talking about hunger, of course. Hunger. Hunger and cravings. Hunger are actually not our enemy. Hunger is a survival mechanism. It's built in us, in our brain, to make sure we get enough food. We get enough calories to survive until the next meal. And to survive until we pass on the genes. And that's the purpose of each individual of animals in the whole and entire animal kingdom. To procreate, to pass on the genes. And in order to have energy, to search for a mate, to have energy, to actually do the act of procreating, you need to have calories. For calories, we have food. And we have all this society that fears calories. All this society that invented calorie deficit. And all these poor people that still believes in it. I have nothing against you. I have not. I want you to live the food freedom, to live this life without cravings and without hunger. and to stay lean, to lose weight like I've lost without calorie deficit, because there is a better way. And I have a lot of content on my channel speaking about this, over 50 videos. My whole channel is about how to lose weight without hunger and without calorie deficit. But the problem is we are so indoctrinated and we fear calories actually. We don't believe that we can lose weight without calorie deficit. And I guess the diet industry succeeded. Yes, if you tell to a society a lie and you tell this lie over and over again, the case after the case, and you are loud enough because you have the money to push all these messages in the media, all the people will believe it, no matter how wrong this idea is. And happened in our human history and our present all the time, in a lot of area of our lives, and happens in the realm of nutrition and oil loss. It happens with not only calories, with the macros, with the fat and protein, and animal protein versus plant protein. It happens with carbs, with fruits, with fructose. So there are so many wrong ideas. There is so much misinformation that it's very confusing for all of us to choose what to believe. And we have this fear in us that we cannot try it for ourselves. In the past videos, in the previous 4 episodes, I challenged you to try it for yourself. Come on. There is a way to understand the truth and to discern good from the bad information. Try it for yourself to see. You will understand that this diet is perfect and it's the good one, it's the best one, when you will feel no cravings, when you won't crave any more junk. And there is no diet on earth that people don't crave. They crave, or if they don't crave, they drink coffee. When you eat enough calories from the right type of food, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, starchy vegetables, when you eat enough volume, when you fill up your stomach with these foods, you won't crave. You won't be hungry between meals. You will be hungry in 3-4 hours when the next meal comes. That's a normal hunger. But when we skip meals, when we don't eat enough food when meal time comes, when we postpone with 2 hours meal time, when we drink coffee instead of actually taking in calories, when we do this kind of tricks to fool out, to mislead our hunger cues, we actually put more gasoline on this fire that is hunger. We increase the hunger. So we fuel the monster. We fuel this enemy. We give munition. Because what happens when you skip meals and you are actually in this deficit, you are so glad and so proud of yourself that you achieved. I was in that position as well. I was so happy when I succeeded in skipping meals. I felt so proud of myself. Oh my God, I'm closer to my goals because I counted the calories I needed in order to burn 1 kilogram of fat. Doesn't work like that. Come on. Because I struggled over 12 years with this dieting without having the results. All the time losing weight only to gain it back. Because you cannot eat in deficit for life. Only a small percentage of people are that strong and disciplined. For the rest of us, when it comes to put our willpower to fight the hunger, the willpower will lose all the times. Because it's like that. Willpower is located over here in the frontal lobe. And when you don't give enough calories to this fatty brain that needs glucose, man, not fat. Our brain eats glucose, not fat. So when you skip meals, when you don't eat carbs and don't eat actually enough calories, the supply to willpower, to the logical sense, to here, the part of the brain that is responsible with your values, with sticking with your ideas, with your weight loss goal and weight loss plan, is like on red. The supply to this part of the brain is cut because that energy is not enough for all the brain, because our brain needs up to 25% of the all calorie needs of the whole body. It's not that big, but needs a lot of energy to function. So it needs energy for the main functions. And willpower is not one of the main ones. Hunger is, survival is. That's why you won't stick to your plans. Later in the day, you will snack on junk. You will. It's not your value. It's against your dietary principles, dietary ideas to eat junk. Nonetheless, you will do it. When you don't eat enough calories, your ghrelin levels increase. Ghrelin, it's the hunger hormone. Healthy levels of ghrelin are important for a lot of functions in our body. Ghrelin is good, but too much ghrelin, it's working against you, against your lean physique, because will give you more appetite, more thoughts for food, more constant thinking. What should I eat next? Ghrelin also increase the food intake. So in the moment you eat, you will eat more than you wanted, more than you planned, and more than you would normally eat without skipping the previous meal. And in a moment, I will share with you what happened to me a few days back and the mistakes I did, because I'm the same both. I'm human and life happens, and sometimes I'm not prepared. And yeah, I will tell you that story in a moment. Other thing that high levels of ghrelin do is increasing the cravings for high in calorie density foods. For junk, or not only junk, but for foods that you wouldn't normally crave. And it happened to me as well. Because it's not about the person, it's not about how disciplined we are, it's not about how long we've been on this journey and how long we've been plant-based vegan. When you skip meals, it happened the same things like with the rest of the population. You start craving high in calorie foods. And it's not only about ghrelin. There is more. There is leptin. When you don't eat enough calories, when you skip meals and small portions and coffee and all that jazz, your leptin levels decrease. Leptin is the hormone of satiety. Reduced levels of leptin decrease the satiety that prompt you to eat more, to add more calories, to pack in more calories, to restore the energy levels. And get this, lower levels of leptin make it hard for you to feel satisfied with that meal. I will tell it again. Low levels of leptin make it hard for you to feel full. You have the full stomach of food, but you don't feel the fullness. So in the moment you decide to eat and we all have food, you will actually overeat. And that happened to me. And this is the moment to tell you that story. So my personal anecdote to illustrate this case, to see that it's not only you. This hunger, these leptin levels and this ghrelin are universal and strike me as well. I don't have immunity to this stuff. It's about our biology, I guess. So a few days ago, I went to shopping after breakfast. I had my breakfast at around 10 o'clock with fruits, papayas and peaches and some other juicy stuff. I took with me for lunchtime because I knew that I will stay for a few hours in the mall. I took with me apples, bananas, and some wakame algae, the dried ones, for that crunchiness, saltiness, flavor, and texture. The first mistake is this. I didn't eat the lunch when the lunchtime came and I felt a little bit of hungry. In 3 hours, at around 1:30, I should have to head to the parking where I had the pack with my food. But I continued shopping and from store to store, you know that drill. When you hit the fitting room and you put on clothes and you head to the next store and time is passing. Time was passing for me as well. So I ended up at around 3:30 having that lunch. And because I knew that I'm very close to the dinner time and I didn't want to have my dinner very late because I sleep better when I have my dinner before 6 o'clock. And I said, if I eat by this time all these foods, all these bananas and all these apples, I won't be hungry at 5, at 5:30 to have my dinner and to finish it around 6. So let's not eat all this food. So I ended up eating only around 500 calories of food. I had a lot of apples because I love apples, and I had only 2 bananas. At the end of that meal, I didn't have enough calories, and I didn't feel the fullness. I was satisfied, but not completely satisfied. I could have eaten 2-3 more bananas to reach 700 calories or 800 calories. I felt like I was cutting back a bit. Yes, I did it on purpose because I didn't want to postpone my dinner. And that was the first mistake. And I went back in the mall for the next store I didn't had the chance to visit in the first part of that event. I came home around 5 and yes, that was the time to start preparing the dinner. But when you come back home with the kids and the family, life happened again. So that was my second mistake, not prioritizing meals. First mistake, actually, this is the third mistake, because first mistake was to postpone the lunch. The second was to not have enough calories for the lunch. The third one was not to prioritize the dinner time. Instead of going directly to the kitchen, I did other things and I started the dinner at around 7. And can you imagine how much I ate? I started with some peaches because after all that day of shopping, I didn't have enough energy and my body was screaming for more fast energy, fast glucose, and the fastest and the easiest to digest food are fruits. So I was craving at peaches. I started with some peaches and I didn't finish more than 3 because I wanted to eat potatoes as well. I had before potatoes some thanks God I had leftovers. I had steamed cruciferous, like a pound of cruciferous. And after that, leftovers again, baked sweet potatoes, around of 1 pound again, or more or less. And I didn't feel full. So with around 3 pounds of food, so physically full, because with leptin low, you don't feel satisfied with the meal. And I got it. And with ghrelin still high, I was still craving. That is the worst combination. Ghrelin high and leptin low is like that with these 2 hormones. And I was craving tofu. We have tofu all the time in the fridge. We have tofu when we eat together at mealtime. It's on the table in front of my eyes because my kids and my husband, yes, they enjoy tofu. I only eat tofu very rarely, seldomly. And I was craving tofu. Of course, not being prepared and not having enough potatoes on the table made me reach for that tofu. And yes, tofu is more calories per bite. Tofu doesn't have fiber to promote fullness with volumes. So you cannot eat only 1 slice of tofu and 8, 6, 7 slices of tofu, 200, 300 grams of tofu. Yes, you crave things that you wouldn't normally crave, and happened to me. I'm not immune to this. I hope this story, my personal anecdote serves you to understand that is nothing unique and there's nothing wrong with you when you crave. And this is because of your past choices. I'm sorry, you are your fault. You are the fault of growing this hunger. I was in charge of my decisions and I led to that hunger, big hunger and huge cravings. And yes, because I'm years and years after being vegan and we don't have animal products in our home, I crave, and my craving was this inoffensive food that is tofu. Is not a big of a deal. But of course, if you eat a lot of tofu, you will end up overeating on calories because tofu doesn't promote satiety. It doesn't. And I didn't stop there. No, I had to stop to eat tofu. It was more than 1 pound of freshly made tofu from a local store, Asian store. So that's delicious. It's incredibly tasty. So I had to use my willpower to stop eating more tofu. And I don't use willpower. I don't normally have to reach for willpower, for personal strength to stop eating. Never. Never. But this happened because I was in deficit. I was in that I had the energy levels low. So I craved pancakes. I had in a fridge to soak from a day before some buckwheat seeds. I wanted to try this recipe my sister gave me of pancakes made out of these grains. Of course, blended in a blender with water to have this finely fine pancakes. And the idea was to create this recipe for my kids because I don't eat pancakes, I don't crave pancakes. But in this moment, I started fantasizing with these pancakes. In that moment, I decided I will eat the pancakes, like in the old times, in my 20s. When I was dieting, when I was yo-yo dieting, skipping meals and eating small portions and doing a lot of crazy exercise to be in deficit, and yes, having cheat days and cheat meals, and fantasizing with baking, with a lot of cakes, with a lot of pancakes, with bread, with pastry. And this happened to me this week. Me being here to teach you about losing weight and keep it off happened to me. And this happens to you, I guess, because you are human. You are an animal. You are not a machine. It's not up to you. You don't take these decisions. Oh, I will eat less. This is my decision. I will eat less and I will lose weight. It's not you who decides that. Your brain has different opinions than you and different plans, and your DNA has a different blueprint regarding these needs for energy. It's not you who decides how many calories to eat and how many calories to have when you maintain and things like that. You don't control these things. You control other things, like I mentioned. The time of the meal, prioritize when you eat enough, eat enough of the right nutrition, and carbs are the main source of fuel and the ideal source of fuel for our cells, and the unique source of fuel for our brain cells. So yes, these decisions are under your belt. You can control them, but you cannot control how many calories your body needs. And long story short, I ended up eating 4-5 pancakes. Yes. And I had to use my willpower to stop. And I didn't stop because I was disciplined. I stopped because I felt guilty. I won't leave any pancakes for my husband. That was my drive to stop. Oh my God, he will come in the kitchen and poor creature won't have any pancakes to eat. And that was the only reason I stopped. Of course, my kids had their pancakes. And again, I had to use willpower to not put jam on those pancakes. So I had, like, sad pancakes. Only pancakes. That is the drill with people that are cutting calories, are in deficit. They eat crazy things like pancakes without nothing. And I remember in my 20s, when I was baking in my cheat day, yes, I had a whole cheat day only with bread because I was craving bread. And all that week, when I maintained a low deficit, I was eating around 1,600 calories and running and doing some weightlifting. Oh my God, I was dreaming all these 6 days. At the 7th day, that was the cheat day, I was dreaming all the time of that bread and eating all day long only freshly made bread, like around 8,000 calories of bread. Yeah, crazy things we do when we are hungry. And the consequences didn't stop there. the next day for breakfast, I had more food, more calories. I overate on calories because, again, leptin and ghrelin, leptin being still low and saying you need to restore more of these energy levels, I had to eat dates. And I normally don't crave dates. But after eating bananas, after eating papaya and peaches and mango, after having around 800, 900 calories, after having over 3 pounds of food, so again, feeling physically full, that didn't satisfy me. Like I said, the previous information about leptin levels. The theory with these hormones, you don't feel satiety. Despite of having the volume, despite of having the calories, you don't feel satiety. You don't feel satisfaction with the meal. And I had to have dates for the rest of the calories. So I craved more dense source of calories. Like I said previously about ghrelin, when your ghrelin is higher normal of ghrelin, yes, you crave denser source of calories. So more calories packed per every bite. Because your body says, okay, enough with this water and fiber. We need calories. Give us more calories, please. To wrap it up, in order to lose weight, to stay away from hunger and intense cravings for high-calorie foods, you have to be prepared. So prepare in advance your meals. You don't have to skip ever a meal or postpone the meal time. And you have to eat enough. So be prepared, prioritize meal time, because without nutrition, nothing else matters. From nutrition comes the level of our well-being and health. Please remember that. Now, please share in the comments your story or your doubts. And if you want to find out more about this way of eating, this way of seeing food and nutrition, please go to watch all my videos. I created a lot of valuable content that will help you avoid this kind of mistakes. And if you need more help, I'm here to coach you. Please find links to my services in the description box below. Now, please give me a like because I deserve it. Subscribe to my channel and activate the notification bell. And please share this video with everybody around you because everybody is feeding and is fueling their intense and immense monster of hunger. Now, please go to watch this video where I explain why you are the biggest enemy when it comes to losing weight.